Hey there, football fans. Welcome back to Channel Name, your go-to place for everything football. You know, football is more than just a game. It's a way of life. It's about the strategy, the passion, the history, and the unforgettable moments that keep us coming back for more. And today, we're diving deep into the heart of the game with 13 mind-blowing facts about American football that will make you appreciate this sport even more. We're talking about those hidden gems, those little-known stories, and those did-you-know moments that make you sound like a true football historian at your next tailgate party. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or just starting to learn the ropes, get ready to have your mind blown wide open. We'll explore the origins of the game, the birth of the NFL, the evolution of the Super Bowl, and so much more. We'll uncover unique rules and innovations, celebrate iconic players and their legendary records, and even delve into some of the more unusual penalties and controversies that have left fans scratching their heads. So buckle up, grab your favorite game day snacks, and get ready for a wild ride through the fascinating world of American football. And remember, folks, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of our future content. Let's break this thing down. Now, you might think football just magically appeared one day, but it's got a history, folks, and a fascinating one at that. You see, American football wasn't always about the forward pass, the blitz, or those bone-crushing tackles. Nope, it actually started out as a combination of rugby and soccer, believe it or not. Back in the late 1800s, college students were playing a game that borrowed elements from both sports. It was a wild and woolly affair, with players running every which way, kicking and passing the ball with reckless abandon. But it wasn't until 1869 that we saw the first real glimpse of what would become modern football. Rutgers and Princeton, two college rivals, squared off in a game that resembled something closer to the football we know and love today. Now, it was still a far cry from the sophisticated game we see now, but it was a pivotal moment in the evolution of American football. This game, with its modified rules and emphasis on running the ball, laid the groundwork for the sport's future. From those humble beginnings, football began to take shape. Rules were refined, strategies were developed, and the game slowly but surely started to capture the hearts and minds of Americans everywhere. Now, we all know the NFL is the big kahuna, the top dog of professional football, but it wasn't always this way, folks. Back in 1920, a group of football enthusiasts got together and decided to form the American Professional Football Association, which later became the National Football League, or NFL as we know it. But here's the thing. The NFL wasn't the only game in town. In the 1960s, a rival league emerged, the American Football League, or AFL. And they weren't afraid to challenge the established order. They had flashy offenses, charismatic quarterbacks, and a hunger to prove themselves. The competition between the NFL and AFL was fierce. A real knockdown, drag-out fight for players, fans, and ultimately supremacy. These two leagues went head-to-head, battling it out on the field and in the war rooms, each trying to sign the best players and build the most powerful teams. But you know what they say, competition breeds excellence, and that's exactly what happened. The rivalry between the NFL and AFL pushed both leagues to innovate and improve, leading to a golden age of football. The Super Bowl, man, the Super Bowl, it's the pinnacle of American football, the grand finale of the NFL season. This ain't just another game, folks. This is the culmination of months of hard work, sweat, and determination. This is the biggest game of the year, the one everyone's got their eyes on. From die-hard fans to casual viewers, everyone tunes in. It's where legends are made and dreams come true. Careers are defined by what happens on this field. Oh, you got two teams, the best of the best, battling it out for the ultimate prize, the Lombardi Trophy. It's the symbol of excellence in the sport. The first Super Bowl, back in '67, wasn't even called the Super Bowl. Can you believe that? It was a different era, a different game. It was called the AFL-NFL World Championship game. A mouthful, right? It wasn't until a few years later that they came up with the name Super Bowl, and boy did it stick. Now it's a brand, a phenomenon. Now, over 50 years later, it's the biggest sporting event in America, maybe even the world. It's a cultural touchstone. The atmosphere at the Super Bowl is electric, pure energy. The excitement is palpable. You can feel it in the air. The stands are packed with fans from all over, decked out in their team colours, going wild. It's a sea of passion and loyalty. The commercials are legendary, some of the funniest and most memorable you'll ever see. Companies pull out all the stops for these ads, and the halftime show, forget about it. It's a spectacle within a spectacle, a show that rivals the game itself. They get the biggest names in music to perform, putting on a spectacle you won't forget. It's a concert for the ages, but let's not forget about the game itself. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the tension is through the roof. The pressure is on, and these guys are playing their hearts out. Every move, every decision is critical, every play is crucial, every yard hard fought. It's a battle of wills and strategy. You've got the quarterbacks slinging the rock, receivers making acrobatic catches, and linemen battling in the trenches. It's poetry in motion. It's a true test of skill, determination, and teamwork. The camaraderie and unity are unmatched. The Super Bowl is more than just a game, it's an experience, and believe me, you don't want to miss it. It's a celebration of sport, culture, and community. Now folks, football ain't like your average sport. It's a game that captures the heart and soul of its fans, and there's a good reason for that. It's got its own unique set of rules and a whole bunch of innovations that make it so darn exciting. The atmosphere in the stadium, the roar of the crowd, and the tension in the air all contribute to an experience like no other. Take the forward pass, for example. This single innovation revolutionized the game. Back in the day, you couldn't just chuck the ball downfield, you had to lateral it. This made the game more predictable and less dynamic. But then they introduced the forward pass, and boom, the game changed forever. Suddenly, teams had a new weapon in their arsenal, opening up endless strategic possibilities. And speaking of changing the game, let's talk about the hash marks. These little lines have a big impact. See those lines on the field? They might seem insignificant, but they play a crucial role in the game. Those are there for a reason. They help keep the game fair and balanced, ensuring that no team has an unfair advantage. They help keep the game fair and prevent teams from getting stuck out in the boonies. Imagine trying to execute a play from way out near the sidelines every time. Before hash marks, if a play ended near the sidelines, the next play would start way out there too, making it tough to move the ball. The hash marks brought a new level of strategy and fairness to the game. And don't even get me started on the down system. This is where the real chess match begins. 4 downs to gain 10 yards, that's the name of the game. It sounds simple, but it's a constant battle of wits and strength. It creates a natural rhythm, a back and forth battle for every inch. Each down is a new opportunity, a new challenge. You got to be aggressive, take risks, but also know when to play it smart. The decisions made on 4th down can make or break a game. Do you go for it on 4th down? It's a high-stakes decision that can lead to glory or disaster. Do you punt and pin them deep? Sometimes playing it safe is the best strategy. These are the decisions that keep you on the edge of your seat. The tension, the excitement, it's all part of what makes football so special. And let's not forget about all the technology they're bringing into the game these days. It's not just about brute strength and strategy anymore. From instant replay to those fancy helmet cams, it's amazing how much things have changed. Technology has added a new layer of depth and precision to the game, but one thing remains the same. Football is a game of strategy, athleticism, and pure grit, and that's what makes it so great. It's a sport that challenges the mind and body, and that's why we love it. Football, my friends, is a sport that breeds legends. We're talking about larger-than-life figures who've left their mark on the game with their incredible talent and unforgettable moments. Guys like Jim Brown, the Cleveland Browns running back, who was an absolute force of nature. He was a man amongst boys, running through tackles and outrunning everybody on the field, a true legend. Then you got the Golden Arm himself, Johnny Unitas, the Baltimore Colts quarterback who revolutionized the passing game. He could thread the needle with his throws, finding receivers in tight coverage like it was nothing. And talk about clutch. Unitas was known for his come-from-behind victories, leading his team to victory in the most dramatic fashion. And who could forget about sweetness? Walter Payton. The Chicago Bears running back was a combination of power, speed and grace. He could run over you, around you, or even jump over you. Payton was a workhorse, carrying the ball more times than anyone else in NFL history at the time. He was a true inspiration, both on and off the field. These are just a few of the countless legends who've graced the gridiron. From quarterbacks to linebackers, wide receivers to kickers, football has produced some of the most iconic athletes in sports history. Their records and accomplishments continue to inspire generations of players, and their stories will be told for years to come. Now, let me tell you something. Stadiums ain't just places where they play football. They're like cathedrals, sacred grounds where the ghosts of legends still roam. You got your Lambeau Field, a frozen tundra where the Packers faithful brave the cold with their cheesehead hats. Talk about dedication, and then you got your crazy fans down in the Superdome, the Who Dat Nation, louder than a pack of dogs howling at a full moon. They love their Saints and they ain't afraid to show it. And hey, who can forget about the Black Hole in Seattle? Those Seahawks fans, they create a wall of noise that'd make a jet engine blush. It's enough to make any opponent's knees knock. These stadiums, they ain't just concrete and steel. They got character, they got history, and most importantly, they got fans who bleed their team colors. That's what makes football so great, folks. We've all seen those penalties, the ones you just scratch your head at. You know, the kind that make you wonder if the refs are watching the same game as you. Too many men on the field, delay of game, those are gimmies. They're the kind of penalties that are easy to understand, even if they frustrate the fans and players alike. But how about the time a guy called a fair catch on a punt return and his own teammate muffed it, giving the other team the ball? It's one of those moments where you just can't believe what you're seeing. Talk about a bad break. The look on the player's face says it all. Disappointment, frustration, and a sense of disbelief. Or that time a receiver caught the ball a yard short of the first down, but the ref spotted it a first down anyway. Fans were up in arms, and the opposing team couldn't believe their eyes. Controversial calls are a part of the game, but some of them, well, they leave you talking long after the final whistle. These are the moments that fuel debates and keep the sport interesting. One of the craziest penalties I ever saw was the Holy Roller game back in 1978. It's a play that has gone down in history for its sheer absurdity. The Raiders were playing the Chargers, and with time running out, they were down by 6. The tension was palpable, and everyone knew something dramatic was about to happen. The Raiders fumbled the ball forward, and after a couple of swats and kicks, it ended up in the end zone where the Raiders fell on it for a touchdown. It was chaos on the field, and the fans were going wild. Now, the rule book said you couldn't advance a fumble forward in the last 2 minutes. But after a lot of arguing, the refs gave the Raiders the touchdown, and they won the game. Can you believe that? It was a decision that sparked endless debates and remains controversial to this day. And how about that time a team got penalized for having 12 men on the field because a player ran off the field but didn't quite make it to the sideline before the next play started? It's a mistake that can cost a team dearly. Talk about a tough break. The player knew he was close, but close doesn't count in football. It's a game of inches, and sometimes those inches make all the difference. These unusual penalties and controversial calls, they're part of what makes football so exciting. They add an element of unpredictability that keeps fans on the edge of their seats. You never know what's going to happen next. One moment you're celebrating, the next you're questioning everything. It's like trying to predict if a kicker's going to make a field goal with the wind swirling around the stadium. The conditions can change in an instant, and what seems like a sure thing can quickly turn into a nail-biter. You can analyze it all you want, but sometimes it just comes down to a bit of luck and a whole lot of drama. That's the beauty of football. It's a game where anything can happen, and often does. Football is a game of constant evolution, always looking for ways to improve and adapt. We've seen it with the technology, like those yellow first down lines they project onto the field. No more squinting at the TV trying to figure out if the running back got enough yards. And the replays, they've gotten so high-tech, you can see the sweat dripping off a quarterback's face before he throws the ball. But it's not just the technology. The game itself is changing. Safety is a big concern, and the league is always looking for ways to make the game safer for the players. We're seeing new rules to protect players from head injuries, and they're even experimenting with different helmet design. The future of football is about protecting the players while keeping the game exciting for the fans. And speaking of fans, the NFL is reaching out to a global audience like never before. They've played regular season games in London and Mexico City, and there's talk of expanding to other countries. Imagine that. A Super Bowl in Germany or Brazil. The passion for football is spreading, and the future of the game is looking bright. With all these changes, one thing remains constant: the heart and soul of football, the hard-hitting action, the strategic play calling, and the unforgettable moments that keep us on the edge of our seats. That's what makes this sport so great, and that's what will continue to draw fans for generations to come. Well, folks, we've reached the 2-minute warning on our journey through these amazing football facts. We've seen where the game came from, how it's changed and where it's headed. But remember, football is more than just facts and figures. It's about the passion, the rivalries, and the memories we make watching it with the people we love. So next time you're watching a game, remember these mind-blowing facts and share them with your friends. You'll be the smartest person at the tailgate party. And hey, if you ever see me around, come say hi. Just don't ask me to explain the tuck rule again, all right? Keep loving the game, folks.